Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is Chris from SARMs.io, and today I'm going to be doing a full video walkthrough of the very popular SARM LGD 4033. Now, this is one of my favorite SARMs out there. It's a very popular SARM that you can use to put on tons of lean body mass in a very short amount of time. We're talking huge muscle gains, huge strength gains, and I'm going to teach you how to do it and how to do it right. This video will give you everything you need to know. So the benefits, what results to expect, what dosages to use, side effects to look out for, and I'm even going to show you some reputable sources as well, because this is one of those SARMs that gets faked all the time. So you want to make sure you're buying from somebody reputable and you're getting real product. Now, real quick, there is a link in the description that will take you to the full article on the SARMs.io website. It's about 3,000 words long. It's definitely jam-packed with all the information and studies and images and whatnot. But we made this video to line up with the format of the article. And the reason we did that is so you can leave this presentation on, listen to it, and kind of go through the article as I'm talking, because you're going to be able to see the sources that I'm referencing. You'll be able to get a little bit more in detailed description of what I'm talking about, and it's just a better way to kind of learn about this particular SARM. So let's go ahead and jump into it. If you're already on the SARMs.io website, just scroll down, you'll see the article, and you can go ahead and follow along that way. So what is LGD 4033? It is a SARM, also known as Ligandrol. It's one of the most popular SARMs on the market right now, mainly for bulking, because it has a very strong anabolic effect. It's very, very good at building muscle mass quickly. It was originally created by Ligand Pharmaceuticals, and it's now owned by Viking Therapeutics. So Ligand basically created this SARM when they were investigating ways to prevent muscle wasting and catabolic illnesses in cancer patients and AIDS patients and people who are at risk to basically have their muscle deteriorate. So LGD was actually designed to prevent those catabolic effects and to help retain muscle mass in people with those muscle wasting conditions. It's sold as a research chemical online. It can't legally be sold as a supplement. The FDA will sue the company if they try to market it as a supplement for human consumption. But it's totally legal to be sold as a research chemical, which is why you'll see it labeled not for human consumption. It's kind of one of those things where it's a loophole, and companies know what you're going to use it for, but they can't say, this is for gaining muscle mass. And if they do and they're based in America, they're at risk to be sued by the FDA, which happens all the time. So if you see, a reputable source and it says not for human consumption, that's what that means. It's very popular for bulking, as I mentioned, because it gives you very lean, dry gains of muscle mass, and it's very, very quick in how it works. So some of the benefits of LGD, like I said, big muscle gains. Is going to be dry mass, so you're not really dealing with a wet compound. If you've ever taken Dianabol, yes, you'll gain a ton of weight, but you're going to look like a marshmallow because a ton of that weight is water retention, and SARMs, since they do not aromatize, are not going to give you that same water retention that you would get from some of those steroids, which is a good thing, because dry mass means you're not going to look bloated, you're going to look hard, you're going to look dry, and you're going to gain a significant amount of muscle while using it. You can use it to retain muscle mass if you're on a cut or a recomp cycle, or you're doing like a show prep where you're just trying to lose all the body fat, but you still want to look pumped and hard and full. LGD is a great option for that. It will definitely give you a hardened look, increase vascularity, and just overall make you look more pumped. It's also really known for giving you that alpha feeling. This is common, not so much with SARMs, but with anabolic steroids. If you've ever done a cycle of tests, you know what that kind of on alpha feeling feels like. Well, LGD will give you that same feeling. I've run it multiple times, and it really is pretty powerful, the way that it just makes you feel alpha and strong, and you just feel like you're on something. It's one of those compounds you can feel. And then big strength gains too. Not like small consistent strength gains. I mean, like you'll walk into the gym one day and throw 20, 30 pounds on one of your big lifts, and you'll just hit a new PR and it'll feel light. The strength that comes along with LGD is absolutely insane. Out of all the SARMs that are currently available, it's definitely one of the strongest in terms of just pure strength gains, at least in my opinion. Side effects of LGD 4033. So first and foremost, there are very little side effects with SARMs in general, just by how they are designed to work, because they are selective and they work mainly with the anabolic and the building muscle side, and less so of the androgenic and the side effects that come with androgenic compounds. You're not going to have too many side effects just by nature. Most people don't experience any side effects, and if you do have side effects, just know that they are all temporary. You're not going to have any side effect that you experience from LGD or from any other SARM that can't be reversed by just stopping your cycle. Side effects that I've seen mentioned by people, number one is hair loss. I don't fully buy into it. I've never experienced any increased shedding while on LGD, but I have seen people report it. Hair loss is one of those things. If you have the gene, you're going to lose your hair no matter what. Obviously, I understand you want to keep as much hair as you can for as long as you can, but you're either going to lose it or not. And honestly, like 6 to 8 weeks of LGD is not going to give you a bald spot. If you're already shedding, maybe you'll shed a little more, but to be honest, I haven't noticed anything significant. Suppressed testosterone levels. This is very common with SARMs. The good news is that SARMs will suppress your testosterone directly rather than doing it in the way that anabolic steroids do. Because when you take steroids, yes, it suppresses your testosterone level, but it also suppresses the hormones that your body uses to create testosterone. So things like LH and FSH, which are the building blocks to creating testosterone in the male body. SARMs don't suppress those building block hormones. So yes, your testosterone level will be slightly lower on cycle, but when you're done with the SARM, since those building blocks weren't suppressed, your body goes right back to producing normal levels again. You recover very quickly from SARMs and very quickly from LGD in particular. The one thing I will say, some people get high blood pressure on cycle. It's very easy to monitor this. Check your blood pressure. If you need to go to a doctor to get put on something, then do that. Otherwise there's some over-the-counter things that you can take as well. But if you're doing cardio and you're eating right, even on a cycle of LGD, you probably shouldn't be having blood pressure issues. Pretty uncommon. So what results to expect on a cycle? It depends on your goals. It depends on your goals, and your training mentality and your nutrition are the big factors that are going to determine how much muscle you gain or how much muscle you retain if you're cutting. On a traditional bulking cycle, 8 to 12 weeks, it's pretty easy to pack on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Now that's assuming that you're keeping a very high protein diet. That's assuming that you're lifting 5 to 6 times a week, that you're using progressive overload, that you're increasing the weights as you get stronger, that you're taking yourself to failure multiple times throughout the week. If you followed all of those best practices for training and you add in LGD, you're going to put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. Even the experienced guys should have no problem putting on 10 pounds of muscle. I mean, this stuff is very strong. If you're on a cutting cycle and you're in a caloric deficit, a lot of times I'll see guys put on 3 to 5 pounds of muscle on top of losing 5 to 10 pounds of fat. Now that's really going to depend on how much protein you're eating and how hard you're cutting. But just know that LGD 4033 is great for retaining muscle on a cut and even gaining a little bit of muscle as well. Constant strength increases. As I mentioned before, LGD is awesome for strength. I mean, you're going to walk into the gym every single day and be able to lift a little more than you could the day before. You're going to walk in one of those days and just throw 45 pounds extra on the deadlift, and you'll have no problem hitting a PR. I mean, literally every time I cycle this stuff, I'm hitting personal bests, and it's pretty amazing because once you've been training for 4 to 5 years, everybody knows your strength gains kind of hit that plateau, and LGD is great for just smashing through those plateaus. Other than that, stamina boost, you're going to feel more energy throughout the day. You're going to feel more energy in the gym. You're going to be able to push yourself to failure more often. You're going to recover faster. You're going to get those benefits. And obviously, like I mentioned before, you're going to feel like you're on something. You're going to feel like you're taking something, and you're going to know typically pretty quickly, assuming that the product that you have is legitimate and not fake. So dosage guide, best practices, start low, ramp up. Adjust as needed throughout your cycle. You don't need to just go all in on the higher doses. Start on a lower dose and scale up as needed. If a lower dose works for you, keep it there. And also remember, cutting cycles don't require the same dosages as bulking cycles, because with cutting, you're basically taking the SARM to prevent catabolic muscle wasting while you're in that caloric deficit. So you don't need as high dosages there. For bulking, I would start at 10 milligrams. I would increase to 20 milligrams tops. I like 20. That's kind of my sweet spot. I've seen people go 30, 40, 50 milligrams. I think that's unnecessary. Milligram per milligram LGD is extremely powerful. It's more powerful than Anavar milligram per milligram. It's more powerful than most of the steroids out there. So why not use it for what it is and take advantage of the fact that it has a lower side effect profile, and keep it at 10 to 20 milligrams. Don't try to crank up the dosages any higher, because otherwise just do steroids. You want to be using these SARMs because it's a lower side effect profile, and it's going to be a lot easier in your body. For bulking, you're typically going to see 4 to 12 week cycles. I would say 8 weeks is kind of my sweet spot. I've seen people go 12. I think if you're being responsible and you're taking care of your body and you feel good, go ahead and go to 12 weeks if you'd like. But I would say 8 weeks is kind of a sweet spot there. I think 4 weeks is kind of too short. For cutting, pretty straightforward. Start at 10 milligrams and stay there. Do not go any higher for cutting. You're going to want to cycle between 4 to 12 weeks as well. Depending on how hard of a caloric deficit you're utilizing, you can usually go 12 weeks, no problem there, as long as you're keeping your dosage down to 10 milligrams. Should be no issues there. Half-life. Half-life of LGD is, it varies depending on who you ask, but from what we know about this compound, it's between 24 to 36 hours. So what that means is once daily dosing should be totally fine. Our optimal dosing schedule utilizes a twice daily protocol, with one of those doses being utilized pre-workout. So what does that mean? It means, let's say you have a bottle of LGD and it's dosed at 10 milligrams per milliliter, and you want to do 20 milligrams a day. Okay, so you would need 2 milliliters a day to get to that 20 milligrams. If you work out in the morning, you're going to wake up and take one of your dosages about 30 minutes to an hour before you work out. So that'll give you 10 milligrams there. And then the second dose of the day, you're going to do at night before you fall asleep. And it's the same thing if you work out at night. Just take half the dose in the morning and take the other half, like I said, 30 minutes to an hour before you work out. That's our optimal dosage schedule, but due to the half-life, you should have no problems just dosing once a day if that's more convenient for you. So where to buy LGD 4033? Here's the thing, guys. There's a lot of fakes out there. There are a lot of companies selling bullshit. What we're seeing more and more is that these companies are buying steroids in bulk because they're much cheaper to produce in a lab than SARMs are. SARMs are surprisingly difficult to produce. And steroids, because they've been around for so long, they're much easier to produce in bulk and they're much more widely available. So what we're seeing is these companies are buying steroid powders, they're mixing them into liquids, and they're selling them as SARMs because it's cheaper that way. And the customer gets results and they think everything's fine. But then you're seeing these reports of people and all their hair's falling out and people are getting gynecomastia. If that's what customers are experiencing, then those products are spiked with steroids, period. because SARMs by nature will not aromatize. They will not cause gynecomastia. We do lab testing in-house. We don't produce SARMs ourselves, but we review a lot of companies that sell them, and we do test a lot of products. From our numbers, we would estimate that about 75% of the SARMs on the market right now are completely bunk. They're either fake or drastically underdosed, or they just contain steroids. And that's the nature of the industry, so you do have to be very careful. Luckily, we do have a verified source list. We update it every single month. So we go in and we just check, who's producing good stuff. We'll test the products, and then we compile all of those results onto a list, and we update that every month and send it out to our viewers. So if you want to check that, you can go to SARMs.io and click on store reviews in the top, or you can check the description below and click on that link and it will take you there. Commonly asked questions. So number one, I get asked all the time, how do I measure liquid LGD? So it depends on where you get your SARMs from, because different companies are going to sell the same product in different concentrations. I would say vast majority of the time you're going to see a solution somewhere in the 10 milligrams per milliliter area. A good company will include a dropper bottle or a measuring pipette in with the bottle, so it's very easy to measure a milliliter at a time. If they don't include that, just go to a CVS or a Walgreens and get an oral syringe that has markings for milliliters. Typically, the pharmacy can just give you a few for free because they have thousands there for liquid medications. So let's say that you do have your normal dosage, which is around 10 milligrams a milliliter. If you want to do 20 milligrams a day, you're going to do 2 milliliters a day. If you want to do 15 milligrams a day, you're going to do a milliliter and a half a day. So you just have to find out how much you want to take during a day and look at the bottle and then calculate how many milliliters you need to take. Typically, companies are doing an active dose they'll do a 30 milliliter bottle, and an active dose is 1 milliliter, and that lasts you 30 days. Obviously, depends on the source that you're using. How long does it take for LGD to kick in? I mean, for me, I feel it the very first day that I take it. I really do. It's one of those compounds that it gives you a really good pump the first time you take it. So you should feel it pretty much right away. You'll start noticing some of the bigger effects after about a week or so. And I would say right around the 4-week range, you're going to look in the mirror and realize that you're getting some great results. So pretty quickly. And then I would say, by 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to be walking around. People are going to be asking you what you're eating. They're going to be looking at you, asking if you're on something. I mean, you're going to look much different after 8 weeks of LGD. And then, like I said, if you want to take that to 12 weeks, go for it. But it typically doesn't take very long to kick in at all. And you should feel those initial pumps, right away after a day or two. Do I need PCT, post-cycle therapy, after LGD 4033? No, you don't, because SARMs do not suppress LH and FSH. They suppress testosterone naturally, but like I said before, when you come off, your testosterone levels will immediately bounce back. So post-cycle therapy is unnecessary. If you are dead set on running a PCT, and I know many guys are, totally fine. I'm going to give you my recommendation because I don't want you to mess your body up. Stay away from Clomid. You want to do Nolvadex 10 to 20 milligrams a day for 4 weeks tops. Nolvadex is also available as a research chemical online. If you look for tamoxifen citrate, that is the chemical name, and that's what I would use. Or if you have a reputable source for Torum, that's supposedly pretty good as well, but the Clomid is, you're going to be very prone to side effects, so I would just stay away from that drug altogether. You don't need a PCT, but if you do one, use Nolvadex or tamoxifen. What to stack with LGD? So that's really going to depend on your goals. If you're bulking, the easiest kind of, throw in there and stack it kind of SARM would be MK677. It's technically not a SARM. It is a compound that increases the amount of growth hormone in your body. It also elevates IGF-1 levels. So and it's not suppressive, it's not hormonal, so it stacks very well with LGD. They complement each other really well. So you could do the MK677. Another recommendation would be YK11 for those myostatin inhibiting properties. Really, I mean, if you want to blow up, I would stack with those two. If you want kind of more in-depth guides on what dosages to use and how long to use each one, go to sarms.io, and at the very top we have a section that says stacks. You're going to click on that link. It'll show you the different stacks that we've put together for bulking, cutting, recomp, and strength, and then there's going to be a beginner and an advanced stack for each of those. So that'll lay out all the dosages, where to get everything, how much to dose every day, and so on and so forth. So that's about it, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for watching the presentation. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And please, 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 if you can, just drop a like on this video. It does help us out a ton. And then I promise, if you have any questions or concerns, or you have things going on in your cycle that you want to discuss, just drop a comment in the video section below, or if you're on the sarms.io website watching, just scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and you'll see a comment section, and you'll see anybody who leaves a comment, we always respond to. So we do care about the people who watch these videos, and we really appreciate the people that like and subscribe to the channel. All right, so that's it, guys. Thank you so much, and be safe.